Now the girl says, okay, and then he teaches her this game too. Now the girl gets busy again. Man, what can I even say? Her computer's battery just doesn't run out. My phone's battery drains so quickly. Anyway, he says, alright, everything's over now, I'll go to sleep and let her play the game. And in the background, the sound of clicks from the game is coming. The guy says, good thing I didn't give her a job. If I had, the interviewer would have driven me crazy asking questions like, this girl from 1200 years ago, where did she come from? Now we're shown the guy goes to sleep. He's really asleep. Then as soon as he wakes up, he sees that the girl is still busy playing the game. What can even be said? Anyway, he comes out yawning and says, okay, it's dinner time. Today again, the guy says, we'll go for a night walk, so you'll have to change your dress. And also, change your hairstyle too, okay? You look really weird with this hairstyle. How will people think you're mysterious like this? So just change your hairstyle. He says this and walks away. The girl starts thinking, what can I even say? She's thinking, will I look like that? Now he's thinking to himself, maybe she'll look like this. No, then he blushes and says, no way, I'm blushing myself, man. Then he thinks, no, she definitely won't look like that. Then he thinks, what kind would she look like? He imagines again, maybe she'll look like this type. Then we're shown he imagines her as a chubby type. Oh no, she's not like that either. Then he thinks of a cute, sweet girl and goes, wow, maybe this type. Now what can I say? Anyway, he thinks, let me look for some dresses for her. Now he starts searching on Google, women clothing. Then the scene shifts and we see they've gone outside. Suddenly an uncle says, oh, walking with your girlfriend? The guy says, no, she's just a friend, no walking like that. Then suddenly he asks the uncle, uncle, is this stick made of peachwood? He asks the uncle and the uncle replies, no, this isn't peachwood. I've ordered one, but it's on the way. Then we're shown the uncle says, son, the new year is coming, so don't forget to take my photo, okay? The guy says, yes, sure. Anyway, take care, it's dark out here. The man replies, I don't need to be afraid. I know Buddhist. I mean, it's a technique. I know it. Then he says, yeah, I feel like I should get committed to this girl. The guy is thinking that. Then we're shown both the guy and the girl walking, and the girl is a bit bothered, turning her head here and there. Then suddenly she asks, what is a girlfriend? The guy says, nothing, it's just like a friend. Then the girl says, then why does it have girl in it? The guy says, because you're female, that's why it has girl in it. You're female and I'm male. Then the girl says, then why are you refusing to call me your girlfriend? The guy says, you won't understand. I'll tell you later in the future. Then the girl says, oh, man, what can I even say? The guy thinks, if she finds out what girlfriend really means, she might leave the house in the middle of the night. He's thinking that now. Then suddenly he asks, when we saw that video, the one about the dynasty, have you heard of that dynasty? Do you know about it? The girl shakes her head and says, no, I haven't seen it. The guy says, oh, okay. Then we're shown both the guy and the girl just walking, and the girl is observing everything and saying, no food here, and so on. She notices the cleanliness, how happy everyone looks, this and that. She says the soil is firm, this is happening, that is happening. Basically, she's lost in her own imagination, thinking, wow, what a beautiful place. It really feels like a dream. Then she says, I don't even know how I came here. It still feels like I'm dreaming. Yes, it is dreaming. Then we're shown the guy saying, Miss Warrior, would you like to have tea? The girl says, tea? What's that? The guy says, okay, 2 teas, put less ice and less sugar, okay? Then we're shown she takes the tea, holds it and says, what is this weird thing? She says, there's something like chocolate at the bottom. Then she asks, is the guy doing any work to earn money? Should I also learn to do a job? She's thinking and says that to the guy. The guy says, yes, you need to do a job too. But you don't even have an ID card, so how will you earn money? Then the girl says, oh, okay. Then the guy says, alright, try the boba tea. Tell me how it is. And the girl says, oh, and starts making a strange face. She's just making weird expressions, man, that's all I can say. Then she says, it's a little weird but okay. How hard is it to chew this? Then the guy says, crazy, you're not supposed to chew it, silly. He laughs and says, you're supposed to suck it through the straw gently. Then he gives her his straw and says, don't chew it like that, this is how you taste it. Now the girl starts sucking on it. She didn't know how to do it. Then he explains, you don't chew it like this, you do it like that and taste it. Now she sucks it in and really likes it. She says, wow, delicious. What can I even say? Then the guy says, okay, you can have mine. And the way he says it, it looks so nice. What can I say? He's totally flirting. Anyway, he says, I liked that you drank my drink, where the boy was saying, I'm full now, let's go for a walk, it'll help with digestion. The girl replies, okay, let's go. Now we see them walking together, like a couple, we could say. The boy sees something and says, just watch, I'll take you to a nice place. He seems to have a dangerous plan in mind, something that exists in every boy's mind. A bus arrives and the boy tells her, just don't be nervous and keep following me, okay? She follows him as he says, and she looks really cute doing that. They get on the bus, and the boy tells her, go sit by the window, you'll enjoy it more and get to see better, experience the point of this life. The bus starts moving and the boy says, wow, look how lovely it looks, how smoothly this vehicle is running. I thought you'd be really excited and curious, but you look so chill and calm. The girl replies, I've ridden a horse before, bro, what should I say? He still sees the bus as a horse. Anyway, they reach their destination and the boy says, look, this is the bridge. They're shown near the bridge, by the sea. Obviously, the view there would be amazing. It looked beautiful, even I enjoyed watching it. The boy says, back in your time, it must have been all dark because there were no lights. But look now, it's a modern city. That's why they call it a modern city. The girl asks, am I really in the future? The boy says, I don't even need to tell you. Just ask your own heart. Then he says, yes, this really is the future. Both are watching and wow, just seeing them made me happy. I wish my girl were like that. The boy continues, I can show you so many amazing things. He starts taking pictures of her, and she looks beautiful in them too. Then he says, once I get your ID, I'll take you to the sky. The girl asks, sky? The boy says, yes, the sky in an airplane. He adds, we can even go to the moon, it just takes money, but in the future, I'll save up a lot. For that, my small house is fine. The girl says, I also want to travel the world a lot. The boy replies, after that, we'll enjoy life together, all those typical couple talks, even though nothing official has happened between them yet. Then he says, your lifestyle, really, you're such a great girl that it took 1,200 years to meet you. Then he says, time's up, and we see what he meant. The sky begins to light up, oh my God, a sky shot near the sea. I also have a dream like that. If only I had someone to share it with, but I don't have anyone. Anyway, life goes on. The sky shot continues, and both are saying wow. Her eyes are wide open in awe. She says, after 1,200 years, this is so amazing. The boy asks, what's on your mind? She replies, I was just thinking. He asks, what are you thinking about? She says, if I could experience the whole world, travel the entire globe. The boy thinks about her wish and says, then I should do something. The girl asks, what? The boy says, okay, you'll be able to travel the world on my behalf. Don't worry. Then he says, welcome to my era. He starts welcoming her to this era, and then the scene shifts. We're shown our hero again, who's reading the news. The guy looks like this and he's saying, I don't know what a great sin this is. I don't know what sin he's talking about. He's eating a burger and says, look, look. The girl says, I don't know what's happening outside. Why are there so many people gathered? The guy asks, where is the crowd gathered? Show me. He says, what happened here? Then he says, these people are still obsessed with ghosts. He says people still think about ghosts. He adds, "The ghost is right here with me." The girl says, "Why are all these people locked up like they're in jail?" The guy replies, "Eat, use the computer, eat again, watch a movie, then eat again. Is this what being locked in jail looks like to you?" He continues, "We're doing whatever we want, eating, drinking, no restrictions, nothing. We have freedom." Then he says, "Silly, this is called a lifestyle." The girl says, "I don't get it." The guy says, "We can do whatever we want, inside or outside, live however we like. We have full freedom." The girl says, "So lying around like lazy people is called freedom?" Then she says, "I want to go outside, I want to explore the world in my own way." The guy says, "You want to explore it yourself? Without my help?" He continues, "I think you're joking. Can you go out by yourself? I mean, you have 2 legs to walk and eyes to see, but what will you do there? There's no roof to stay under. What will you eat?" He continues, "Here, you don't have money or anything. What will you do once the money is gone? This isn't the olden days where you could go into the jungle and hunt or eat from the trash. You're not a cat, right?" The girl feels shy and he says, "She's gone mad." Then the girl says, "Without an ID card, I can't do anything." The boy replies, "Yeah, something like that. But don't worry, I'll arrange your ID card and everything very soon." Now the girl is feeling sad. The boy is saying, "Whatever your habit is, change it, okay? Stop thinking about all that. Just try to understand the world." The girl replies, "I don't want to understand anything now, I don't want to understand anything at all." The boy says, "Look, you've learned to travel by bus. This is money, with money we can travel in the bus." Now he says, "Outside there's talk of a ghost going around, people still think it's a ghost." The girl asks, "Are there still ghosts here?" The boy replies, "No, it's all just those tantric babas, occultists, nothing special. There's nothing ghostly. The ghost is you." He starts joking like that. Then he says, "When you start earning money, then you can pay me. There's no need to pay me now." The girl says, "Okay, but what if I can't earn?" The boy says, "It's okay, I'll find some other way." The girl says, "Many thanks, young hero." Now the boy starts blushing. "Oh no, leave it, I don't need thanks." He acts like he's being modest. "I mean like me, although I don't act like that because I don't even have a girlfriend." Anyway, he starts searching for job-related stuff on the internet, hoping to find something useful in this digital age. Then he starts thinking, what should I even say? If she goes alone, etc. Then he says, "All right, go play a game." The girl replies, "No, I can't play games, I need to earn money." The boy says, "Before you earn money, you need to learn how to use a computer." Now we see someone knocking at the door. The boy gets nervous and says, "Who's come? Is it someone from my house?" He says, "I think someone from my family is here," and he's shocked, thinking, what now? He starts saying, "Quick, quick, hide, go hide, hide somewhere." He's panicking, saying, "Go here, go there." Then says, yeah, I'm coming, I'm coming." Now we see it's his dad. The boy says, "Dad, what are you doing here?" His dad looks at him angrily and weirdly and says, "Call me landlord." Then he says, "You still haven't found a job?" The dad starts looking around the house. The boy says, "Dad, do you really think I need a job? I'm already a YouTuber. I earn decently." The dad says, "This isn't a proper job." The boy replies, "Dad, leave it, it's a holiday, let me enjoy the holiday." But his dad insists, "It would be better if you find a job." Then he warns him, "Find a job or I'll increase your rent next month." The boy says, "Dad, did you see those tantric babas outside the house?" His dad says, "Yes, I saw. What's going on here?" The boy says, "You don't know, there's ghost activity around here. I think you should lower the rent." The dad replies, "Ghost, my foot. Go get a job quickly or I'll double your rent." Now I should mention, the dad takes rent from him because he doesn't have a job. Then the dad suddenly yells, "𝙒𝙤𝙤𝙤, what is this?" He sees a girl's dress. Obviously, if a single guy has a girl's dress in his house, what will anyone think? 𝙒𝙤𝙤 says, Dad, let me explain." He's thinking, If I say I wore that dress, how embarrassing would that be? So he says instead, my friend's sister is staying here temporarily. He continues thinking, Dad, there's nothing like what you're thinking. She's my friend's sister who came to stay here. His dad says, what did you say? The boy tries to explain, she's his sister, so you can consider her like a sister to me. The dad says, okay, show me. Then the boy calls out, Zheng, come out, open the door. We see the girl open the door and come out quietly, standing in the corner looking innocent. The boy says, Dad, her name is Zheng, and this is my dad. Then he says to her, just don't create any problems. Suddenly the girl also calls him Dad. Now she's saying, what should I call him? Can I call him Uncle? They're whispering back and forth. The dad is shocked that the girl called him Dad. He starts thinking, oh no, could she be his girlfriend? Then the girl says, nice to meet you, Uncle. The dad replies, nice to meet you, bro. Sorry, daughter, whatever. Then he says, okay, come with me for a second. He pulls the boy aside. To the girl, he says, you go on doing whatever you were doing. She replies, okay. Then the dad says, now tell me the truth. The boy replies, there's nothing, like I said, my friend's sister came to stay here temporarily. The dad asks, is she your girlfriend? The boy says, no, she's not my girlfriend. Don't think like that. She's definitely not my girlfriend. The dad is suspicious. He says, she called me Dad. The boy says, you heard it wrong. The dad then asks, okay, how old is she? The boy replies, 18. The dad says, what a big sin you've committed. The boy says, what sin? Why can't someone live with a girl? Even if we're dating, it's not a sin. How does this even look like a sin? He starts yelling and shouting. The dad is totally shocked and says, I came here to collect rent and you're hanging out with a girlfriend. The dad is like, I came for rent. What is happening here? He says, you're a wicked boy. The boy replies, no, it's nothing like that. Believe me, she's just my friend's sister. Then he says, look, I already paid you the money, 238 yuan, right? I paid it immediately. He adds, now give me the key. The dad says, this is my house. I'm the owner. The boy says, I paid the rent, so give me the key quickly. Now I'll tell you why he's asking for the key. He's thinking, if in the future they come to the house while I'm away, the girl will be alone. That's his plan. He says, wow, my plan worked perfectly. Good thing I'm not working right now. He now has both keys because obviously every house has 2 keys. He's thinking, if this guy comes while I'm not here and finds the girl alone and she tells him everything honestly, what will happen? He says, this old man wants to play a game with me. Fine, I'll play along. He's happy that he got the key. Then the dad says, your mom was calling you for dinner. Come home quietly. Now the boy is saying, yeah, I'm a little busy too. And the dad was saying, now the boy was saying, no dad, she's not my girlfriend. I told you she's just my friend, okay? Now the dad was saying, yeah, alright. You think your dad is stupid or what? I mean stupid, whatever. He was saying, your dad is stupid? He says, alright, I'm still working. As soon as I'm free, I'll definitely come to see. Then the dad says, okay, do come. And find a job and quickly forget your past, alright? Find a job. Being a YouTuber isn't going to help. Now the boy says, okay dad, let's see what I can manage. Now the dad is about to leave and says, okay, remember, be safe, and I'll explain later what be safe means. He was saying, we're just friends. Now let me tell you, be safe here means that there shouldn't be any mischief between them. Anyway, the boy says, Dad, wait. Now we are shown that he shows a slipper of that girl. Bro, obviously the slipper is 1,200 years old. Anyway, the boy was saying, Dad, look, I got this from the Tang dynasty. What do you think, how many years old this must be? Now Dad, this is from that period. Dad, do you think this is something useful to us? Now he is asking, and his dad looks at it closely and then starts thinking, I have no idea if this is useful to me or not. But one thing I do know is that you definitely need to get a mental checkup, should be sent to a psychologist. Now he says this and walks away saying, at this age, I can't give birth to another son. After that, we are shown a scene inside the police station. There are 3 to 4 policemen sitting and just passing time. One guy is saying, are you hungry? Another guy says, yeah, let's go to McDonald's. Now he says, I've been hungry for days. That's what he says. Anyway, he asks, anyone else hungry? Want to work? Meanwhile, we see Sue's friend sitting there, and he says, no, I'm not hungry, but thanks. Now he turns to the side and starts saying, what a boring day. No work, nothing at all, just a completely boring day. Now he starts saying that and the rest of the 3 officers start staring at him. Now he says, hey, what happened? Why are you guys looking at me? Now he says, didn't your mentor teach you anything? He says, what? No. Now he's making weird faces shyly. Anyway, they all are annoyed with him, like this guy is truly crazy. Just then, their phone rings, so they have to leave. Now we are shown that they're saying, let's go for work. Now we see both of them getting into the car, and Sue's friend, who's also a cop, is with him. Anyway, he says, look, next time don't say that it's a boring day and there's no work, okay? Remember that. He asks, but why? Why shouldn't I say that? The other one says, dude, I can't explain it, but if we say there's no work, work will definitely come. That's just our mentality or something, I don't know. Now he's thinking, what kind of nonsense is that? If there's no work and we think about work, work will come? Just then we're shown they arrive at the place where the complaint was made. The guy says, I'll check 14, you check 6. Then he says, no, let's check together. Both are scared too. Anyway, he says, wow, feels like a real police experience. Feels like I'm really working. Just then, they see a drunk guy lying down. They say, I think this is the one. Then they ask him, hey, are you sleeping? Now he starts saying, and as he gets up he says, hey, why are you so late? I've been waiting forever. My wife isn't opening the door, open it for me. Then the other guy opens the door and says, bro, how drunk are you? Anyway, he was saying, open the door, the police have come. Then we see a lady opens the door. Then he asks, did you make the call? The lady says, no, I didn't call. Maybe one of the family members did. She says this, and just then the man lying down says, hey, who are you talking to? I made the call. Don't you remember? She kicked me out of the house. Now the cop asks, is he your husband? The lady says, yes, he is my husband, but I kicked him out because he drank too much. Then she says, I'll give him a lecture. The man says, lecture, my foot. You can't give me any lecture. What nonsense are you saying? I'm your husband, and I've only had a little to drink. Everything's ruined, everything's finished. Then the cop says, how about I send you to the police station? He says this threateningly. The man says, no, that's not necessary. Now, bro, all the drunkenness is gone. Anyway, he says, okay, now both of you calm down, don't create trouble. It's late, get some sleep, let us sleep too. Now we're shown the 2 police officers coming back down peacefully, and one of them gets a call again on his microphone. He says, see, I told you if we say there's no work, we'll get work. If we say we have too much work, then there's no work. What even is this logic? Anyway, we're shown that Sue suddenly wakes up in the middle of the night and says, what's that sound? What is this noise? Now we see he says, I think this girl is up to something again. Then he says, just as I expected, this girl is wandering around again. Now he says, hey warriors, are you crazy? Just then we see his eyes open again and Sue says, hey, who are you? Now we see it's a thief, obviously a thief. He says, hey, who are you? Just then the girl wakes up too, she opens her eyes. Both of them wake up. Just then, Sue starts chasing the thief, and the thief starts running. We see Sue running after him, shouting, stop! Stop! The girl rushes forward so fast and catches him. Bro, her speed is too much. Wish I had a girlfriend like that, It would have been amazing. Anyway, we're shown she grabs him with one hand and holds him so tightly that marks are left on his hand. Sue says, "Hey, stop. Stop. Do you want to kill this guy with your strength? Don't use so much strength, this poor guy will die." Then Sue says, let him go, and we see that the person is not a man but actually a boy. Now he's scared and trembling, even though he didn't do anything, he's still shivering. Sue says, "What a crazy girl, man, who's this cruel?" Now he's looking at her and saying, "What the hell is going on? What's this mess?" Then he looks at the hand, and there's such a bad bruise left from her grip that her fingers are imprinted on his skin. Now he says, "She almost killed him. What kind of woman is this? She's a monster." And we're shown her monster-like image. He guesses and says, "So cruel. How cruel is she?" Then he says, "Hey, stop, don't go anywhere. I'll call the police now." He says that until his police friend comes, she shouldn't leave. That guy is saying, "Big brother, my good brother," like he's begging. Anyway, then he looks at the girl again, and the girl glares at him so angrily that he quiets down again. He says, "Hey, that's not what I meant. I didn't want to steal. I've already been beaten up so much, I won't do it again." Now our Sue says, "You totally deserved that beating." Then we see him saying, "Did God not give you hands and legs? And you're still stealing? Do you think money falls from the sky?" He scolds him hard and asks, "Is this your first time?" The thief says, Yeah, this is my first time." He's holding his injured hand and sitting there saying, "Yeah, this is my first time. I won't do anything like this again." He says, "My life is very miserable. I heard there's a ghost here, so I thought I'd use that as an excuse to steal. But instead, I met a monster. I almost died." And it really seems like that girl is an expert in martial arts. Now Sue starts thinking like that and says, "Man, I was so scared." Sue says, "Is that so?" Then he says, "Okay, apologize. Apologize quickly." The thief says, "Yeah, sorry," and starts bowing his head. Then Sue says, "He seems really insecure now. Fine, forget it. I should call the police. They'll take you to the hospital, patch you up, and then take you to jail." Now the thief says, No, I'm fine, big brother. I'm fine. Look, my wound is totally fine. This injury was from an accident." Sue says, "Are you scared because I said I'll call the police? Is that why you're saying it's your first time?" The thief says, Yes, I'm telling the truth." Then we see Sue walking and saying, "Go back the way you came." We see he has set up that arrow shooting thing at the window, or whatever it is, which they used to come in. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, he says, "Go back the way you came." The thief says, "Thank you, big brother. Thank you, big sister." Then he quickly climbs down, waving his hand, saying, "Thank you. Good things happen to good people. You both live well." And he leaves. Just then Sue says, "Man, this guy is making so much noise, disturbing all the neighbors." And the girl asks, "You're just going to let him go like that?" Sue says, "And what else can we do? If we report this, the police will start questioning us. And if the government investigates, they'll find out that you're a fraud and a fake person. We won't be able to prove where you came from." Then the girl says, "He's the one who was stealing, and we're the ones being questioned?" She starts asking, and Sue explains, "Crazy, stealing is one thing, but you beat him up. That will be really hard to explain. And one more thing, why are you wearing that dress?" He starts asking her, "Why are you wearing that dress?" The girl says, "Oh, I use this for sleeping. It's loose and comfy, perfect for sleeping." And she says, "I heard some noise, so I came here." Sue says, "Do you think everyone makes noise at night like this? Stop imagining things. People here aren't like you, sitting like an owl all night." He says, "Fine, I'll see tomorrow how to fix this window." And he starts walking away saying, "I'm going to sleep. You should sleep too." Now I don't know why he's showing his stomach while leaving, but anyway. Then he says, "Let me turn off the light. You go sleep. Good night." And he leaves, and the girl also says good night. Now we're shown the morning scene. We see their apartment. Yes, apartment, I forgot the word. Anyway, we're shown that in the morning he's brushing his teeth, then he wipes his face and steps out. As soon as he comes out, he sees the girl coming and asks her, "Did you finish your martial arts practice? Man, how is this girl so cute?" Anyway, he's asked. The girl says, "Yeah. She's got full attitude. Obviously, she's a girl, she'll show attitude." Then he asks, "How about from next time, you open the gate before practicing?" He's saying, "How about it? Tell me. She agrees and says, "Yeah, fine." Then Sue says, "Why did you agree so easily?" The girl says, "What kind of person are you? If I agree, it's bad, and if I don't agree, it's still bad." He laughs and says, "Yeah, that's the kind of person I am. Anyway, calm down, let's go out today, eat something outside." He says that, and the girl agrees. Sue says, "Last night I learned something, that we should listen more and speak less." He starts explaining to her and says, "And learn more too." The girl asks, "What's going on?" Sue says, "Life is everywhere. We can learn something from everywhere." The girl says, "Like what?" Sue says, "Like, throw out old thoughts and bring in new ones." The girl says, "What new things?" Sue says, "I meant new thoughts. Like, yesterday, you were going to use the stick with such strength. Were you planning to cut his neck?" The girl says, No, I wasn't going to do that." Then we see her showing her hand, saying, "I already measured my strength, so I knew how much power to use." Sue says, "Oh, good." She shows full power. Then Sue says, "No one should hit that hard. You should hit according to the situation." The girl says, "Then how should we hit someone? How can we hit a person?" Sue says, "It depends on the situation. It depends on why you want to hit that person." The girl says, "Okay, suppose you're peeking into my room in the middle of the night, then how much strength should I use?" Now she says that, and poor Sue is shocked and in disbelief. He says, "That scenario is impossible. Don't choose that one, choose something else. Do I seem like that kind of person to you?" The girl says, "Yeah, totally." Sue says, Look, I'm not that kind of person. I'm a very kind type of person, okay? I'm a very good person, etc." Then the nearby girls say, "What's wrong with this guy? Why is he acting like this?" Sue says, "Understand? I'm a very good person." The girl says, "Okay, I'll believe you this time." The guy says, "What do you mean by this time? What kind of weird questions do you even think of? Why would I sneak into your room at midnight?" The girl says, "You're the one who told me before that you might come into my room at midnight." The guy says, "Oh, you crazy person, I said that because I was afraid you'd run away. It was just a joke. Anyway, you know how weak I am. Didn't you see? I could fall with just one punch from you." That's what he says to the girl. And the girl doesn't say anything after that. Then Sue is saying, "What if it actually happens?" Now the girl is saying, "Then I'll punch you." She tightly shows her fist. Sue starts thinking, does this girl really want to kill me? He's saying that and we see he's shocked. While walking, he reaches near a shop and says, "Look, we're here now. We've arrived. They've reached the place to eat." He tells the shopkeeper, "Give us 2 portions." The shopkeeper says, Okay. Now we see he sits down on a bench and says again, giving some wisdom, "Look, you should enjoy your life here. Live your life and remember that day." The girl starts remembering that day, and as soon as he says it, she starts recalling what happened long ago, how her hands used to be soaked in blood. Then we see their food arrives. The man brings it and the girl says, "Thank you." Now we see the food is so dangerously delicious. Actually, it's momos. She says, "Wow, how tasty." Sue is just watching her. He thinks to himself, eating food with a girl from ancient times is so much fun. Then she asks him, "Are you still hungry?" Sue asks her. The girl replies, Yes, of course, I'm still hungry." Sue says, "Then go and ask for more." He adds, "You ask, I'll go pay the bill." Then the girl asks, "Are these expensive?" Sue says, "No, not really. Breakfast is cheap. You can order, it's no big deal." Sue starts thinking again, it's starting to feel like a boyfriend-girlfriend thing. He's getting that kind of feeling. Then he says, Let me give her some good life experiences. While he's thinking that, the girl comes up to the shop and says, "Hello, I want to order at least 15 buns." The shopkeeper, coughing, says, Okay. Then we see 𝙒𝙦 shocked and saying, "So much food? Can you really finish it?" The girl says, "Oh, this much? No worries, I'll eat it all." Then she asks in a weird, cute voice, "Did I order too much?" 𝙒𝙦 says, "Look, it's a lot, but let's say we're rich, but that doesn't mean we'll eat this much food. And besides, it's outside food. Outside food is not good for health." The girl says, "No problem, when I start earning, I'll pay you back." The guy says, "Okay, no worries, just do it then." Then we see 𝙒𝙦 saying, "Boss, bill please." The shopkeeper says, "Come again." We see 𝙒𝙦 packs all the leftover food. The girl is staring at him, and he's also staring sideways. Then he says again, "I'll give you lots of new experiences." He says this while the girl starts looking at him. Then he points to a place and says, "Look, this place, here you can eat as much as you want. You only need to pay once." The girl is surprised and says, "We can eat that much?" She starts saying that. Then the guy explains to her, "Yeah, but it's not something special to know. It's not a big deal for me or for anyone else." Meanwhile, he takes something out and they continue enjoying their life, going out together like a couple. Then it's shown that 2 days have passed. After 2 days, he says, "Look, I brought a new phone for you. Here's a gift for you." He says, "Now you can call me with this and do many other things." The girl looks surprised and asks, "Is this for me? Is it expensive?" She asks, "Is this really expensive?" 𝙒𝙦 says, "No, I just got it as a gift. It's not that costly, I got it from a lottery." He's lying, but who knows why. He gives it to her and the girl says, "Wow, it's amazing." Then she says, "Many thanks, young hero." Again, the same old dialogue. The guy shyly says, "Oh no, it's nothing really." Then he says, "Follow the instructions of this and just look." He thinks to himself, "Mission completed." Then it's shown that her contact is saved under the name, "Many thanks, young hero." It's even written on the side. Then he says, "Why is it so weird?" Then 𝙒𝙦 says, "Look, follow the instructions and complete it." Alright, 𝙒𝙦 says, "Look, you have your dinner. I'm going somewhere, I'm going to my mom and dad's house and it'll take some time. So just have your dinner and don't wait for me." Then 𝙒𝙦 starts telling the girl, "If you get bored, you can play games on the computer or play games on the phone, or you can watch lots of videos and check out your phone." Now the girl was saying, "So many characters, are these even useful?" Then we are shown 𝙒𝙦 saying, "Look, I've kept the food on the table for you. Just check it out. And yes, stay safe and there's no need to wander around. Stay home and enjoy." Then we're shown he leaves his apartment and gets in his car and starts going, thinking, "I'm going home after so many days." And then we're shown he reaches home and says, "Mom, I've come back home." But we see there's no one in the house. His dad is there who says, "Kiddo, you've come home." Now he asks, "Dad, where's Mom?" He is asking about his mom, but his dad says, "She's busy playing games, she's still out." 𝙒𝙦 says, "So late? Aren't you hungry?" He says this to his dad. Now his dad says, "Why don't you call your mom and ask her? 1 minute, how are you alone? Where's your girlfriend?" Now 𝙒𝙦, irritated, says, "What girlfriend? She's just my friend, okay? Not a girlfriend." Then his dad says, "Look, I'm not that dumb. Admit it, you let a random girl stay in your house. If it had been a guy instead of a girl, would you have let him stay?" 𝙒𝙦 then goes into deep thoughts and says, "A guy in a girl's form." He starts thinking like that and then says, "Come out of your dreams, okay? I'm calling Mom." He starts to say this and then thinks, "Man, whenever Mom starts playing games, she forgets she has other things to do." Then we are shown a scene after a while. His dad is reading a book and 𝙒𝙦 is stuck on his phone. 𝙒𝙦 says, "Look, Dad, a thief came today and I need money to repair the window." His dad says, "A thief came?" 𝙒𝙦 says, "Yes, a thief came." His dad says, "He didn't steal anything, right?" 𝙒𝙦 says, No, my computer is safe." His dad says, "What? Do you sleep with your computer?" hugging it while sleeping. He asks with a teasing look, "Man, such dads should be everywhere." Then he asks, "Did you get hurt?" Sue says, "Yeah, she got a little hurt." Then his dad says, "I'm not talking about her, I'm asking if you got hurt." Sue says, "Oh please, me getting hurt? What do I even say? Such a funny dad, seriously." Then we see his mom arrives and says, "Oh son, when did you come?" Sue says, "Mom, I told you, I even messaged you." Then Sue's mom says, "Oh, my memory is getting so weak, I forgot, son." Now we see that Auntie, his mom, is bringing in vegetables while singing, totally in her own fun mood. Then Sue says, "I think Mom must have won the game." We're shown the auntie cutting vegetables while his dad again starts teasing, "Where's your girlfriend?" Sue says, "Look, I already told you she's not my girlfriend. Stop saying such nonsense." His dad says, "I'm talking nonsense? You think normal friends cook together, wash clothes together, roam around together?" Now his mom hears this and says, "They even live together? Why didn't you tell me?" Then his dad says, "I thought he would tell us, I was just waiting for him." Then we are shown they are all at the dining table now. The auntie comes and sits and says, "Come on, show me her photo, show me that girl's photo." And we realize both of them already knew and were just waiting for their son to say it. Now Sue says, "Okay, should I tell you? She has 2 eyes and 1 mouth." His mom gets annoyed and says, "Stop the drama and show the photo already." Then Sue says, "You won't calm down until I show you, right? 'Kay, look, this is her." Then he shows her cute photo. The auntie says, "Wow, she's so pretty." Then he says, "She's not my girlfriend, okay?" Then she says, "Wow, she's so pretty. Wait a minute, let me see her up close." And in this excuse, she starts checking out more photos and says, "Wow, this one's from the bridge. You went to the bridge too." Then she sees another photo and says, "You have so many of her photos on your phone. She looks so adorable from this angle." Sue says, "Mom, why are you looking at so many photos? Don't snoop around." Now the auntie says, "Why are there so many photos of her on your phone?" Then Sue says, "You've seen it now, right? I just had to show the photo, that's it." Now he gets irritated and says, "Where have I gotten stuck? I only took these photos for observation purposes." And with that, this episode ends. If you like this episode, then please like, subscribe, and do show some love to my channel.